what shirts I'm putting on. I'm going to show off all the goodies. All the gut goodies.
That isn't good. It's more plenty than good.
Oh, did you hear that fat joke that was about a candy?
A shitty candy at that.
Have I ever had a good
By the
one?
way, this popped into my head on the way over here. I was driving and I was listening to the radio and they said now a
Well, I put a lot of honey in this tea. Did you put a lot of honey in it?
Not
Enough?
overly enough. You know, I'm not sure there is enough.
I don't think so either. I think this is really good. You want to try my tea? You don't have cookies, do you?
Okay.
Do you have pentagrams on your ears?
No, they are the Deathly Hallows.
Oh, one of those folks. Anyway, you were saying, James?
Super interesting story.
Well, no, I was on the way over here. This has nothing to do with anything, but since I never say anything that does, and they said, let's play a throwback song on the radio, and they played Sex and Candy.
I smell it.
Which, fine, whatever. I'm getting old. I'm cool with that. But all I could think of all of a sudden was, I was like, well, I smell Sex and Candy. What candy? Like, because Reese's Peanut Butter Cups have a very distinctive smell. But I couldn't tell you.
I'm not sure that they would go great with sex. Though.
No, but I'm just saying.
What kind of sex?
Well, I was going to say, and I don't know
How
what
do
good and
peanut
plenty
butter
smell
cups go
was.
with sex?
Well, have you
I'm
had
not
black
talking about-
licorice?
That's what I was about to say. Is
What
it
are you
black
talking
licorice?
Good and plenty is black licorice covered in a sugar coating.
Which is basically
There's a woman
anise,
on our
right?
couch, and I really want to ask her a sex question. So, what candy goes with sex, and what kind of sex?
I mean,
If you're into the
Please
group
tell me. And would you then define sex? Because I'm not quite sure I know what it is.
The answer without any explanation, snow caps.
By the way, Snowcaps, please sponsor us for this quality content.
pixie sticks.
Pixie sticks.
Ooh.
That's what
Ooh, no. Nick and Nips.
Nick and Nips.
There
I
we
don't
go.
even know what the hell that
I don't either, but it's what I want to call my
They're the
penis
wax
from now
soda
on.
candies that you bite off and suck the juice out of.
No wonder I want
I
to call my
didn't know
penis
that.
that.
That sounds painful.
For biting?
You would think, but I'm fairly masochistic.
I never
you
knew
would
they
quit-
Where's
were.
that teethy lady at?
You get so turned on by Campbellberry.
I want to smell good and burn.
We haven't even introduced the guest.
No. I know.
Which is
It's
a
funny.
great title, by the way,
I
for
want to smell good and
I
burn.
want to
a
smell good and
story
burn.
about a witch that works at a candle store or a clothes
You should
factory.
write that. You put the words together.
You know, I mean, I can try. I've got a few other projects lined up, but I'll add that right on to
Can I give you a big fuck you? That was the best idea you've had in months. I want to hear it.
There's a horror movie about a guy who kills people and turns them into candles, isn't there?
Yeah,
There's-
it's called The House of Wax.
Well, no, that's not. Which is actually based on the Museum of Wax, which was a play in the 1920s.
But they do kill people and cover them in wax.
But they don't turn them into candles.
But there was, I know what you're
But
talking
they
about.
could
There was
put
one
a
of
wick
something.
in top of them.
Well, they could. And by the way, if they did, the slogan should be "Get lit."
All right,
not bad.
you can write all the catch lines.
Yeah, that's- I mean,
pretty
Yeah,
good.
we
do
this
that.
fall
Have
you'll
you
get
ever heard
lit.
some of the shitty bonehead horror movies? What's the good one?
Control Alt Death. That's where the computers kill people.
Yeah. Control.
I want to do one, and we've talked about this for years, and we actually started out a script and everything, where it's people going to a high school reunion, and you've got one
No,
guy.
we wrote half. I wrote half of it.
Yeah.
We wrote half of it.
Oh yeah.
Why'd
It's
you stop at half?
I don't
drugs.
think anybody want to make it.
Drugs.
Drugs.
Yeah.
I typed in
Lots of
a
drugs.
guy who kills people and turns them into candle movie. 16 candles came up.
Have all that
Oh my
ring wall.
God. The 17th candle will open the final seal, Chad. Anyway.
Feet's good, but it smells like feet.
But we... So not
Can you
Sex and
put some
Candy.
candleberry in this?
But
I did not bring these.
But yeah, no, we did Gory Days, which was the high school reunion
Gory,
one.
yeah. Let's not talk about it too much because we may eventually find a
Patent pending.
to buy it.
But no,
We'd
we
have
did.
to finish
we wrote
it. I wrote an elaborate opening that was straight out of Lucia Fulci's Zombie on the beach, and I had escaping into the sun. Oh my God! And they would have never shot it. You know what I'm talking about?
My entire
with the siren.
my entire
is the
scene
woman's
that I
running.
loved that
Yeah.
I wrote was.
Well, I'm not talking about you. I was
I didn't
asking you.
figure. Yeah.
Remember the scene that I wrote that I loved that I believe
You wrote
cringed
about
at.
the one the shower. Run to the showers, boys.
That close.
Run to the shower,
Close.
boys.
But where
Can't do
the
it.
old towel dispenser
Oh my.
where you had to reach up and get it was that's how they spread it. Was they put shards in there to where when you reached up, it would impale your hand, and that's how they spread the disease.
And then I wanted to change the way the zombies did it because I wanted it to be just batshitness because I'm so sick of zombies and I couldn't care really too much.
Well, but I think
shit
your
about
dance
zombies.
number with zombies would.
No, but just how they, and then they do this jarring thing and it happens and it just goes all the way down and then such a cool one long
Was
dolly
this
shot.
pre-zombie?
No,
No, it was our big critique
we laid
of
out the
zombies.
whole
Oh, it was
movie,
the
and it
critique
takes
of
place,
zombies.
James, right during a high school reunion.
The high school
Gory
and then-
Days, get it?
Oh, okay.
We even started singing the song,
Nice.
Gory Days, and something about a young girl's heart.
Yeah, and the entire plot was, and the reason it will never ever get made the way we thought about it was we wanted it to be an '80s high school reunion. People great,
Yeah.
and we wanted it to be blaring '80s music. And that also be something that slowly drives people more insane is that they can't
There was
stop
layers.
playing the 80s music.
Chad, do you remember any of this, or are you just still looking to research?
No, I remember all of it.
Well,
He
that's
just-
good, Chad. I appreciate it.
He just chose not to participate in any meaningful way, just like he does the rest of his life.
Sorry. I know you don't like our version of the future. Where George
I'm not-
Takei is the gym teacher
It
screaming,
was.
"Run to the showers, boys!" Oh my.
Actually, that's the one scene I wanted. I wanted George Takei to play it because I wanted him to basically...
All the teachers were going to be played by B movie or it was
Yeah.
all retro. We had it lined out.
But I wanted it to be George Takei because I wanted him because, he took such a long time to come out of the closet for various reasons, which I understand. But I wanted him to have a scene where he gets
Couldn't
to...
find the handle.
It was dark. Too
Where-
dark to see.
where he had-
knocking on closet's door. Hey, 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 yeah.
So you
Got the back of his shirt hooked on a hanger.
I can't sing. I don't know if you knew that. Or not.
Didn't pick up on that at all.
So, let's introduce.
Say what show?
Oh,
are we
also,
on here, Joe?
7 minutes in, now's a good time.
Now,
Welcome to
Where am I?
Bonehead.
Welcome to Bonehead. You are our guest. You are Laurel Hightower. Well, can I say your whole name, or am I only supposed to say your pen name?
Well, I mean, it's
The pen name is...
it's
her
it's
name.
Laurel Hightower. I just didn't slap the Wells on the book or the child. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it's unwieldy. No, oh wait, yeah, my kid's actually Wells. Just
Wells.
kidding.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Each child
One
got
of the
one
few
of our
things
names.
as a dad, I would have been like, I don't know.
No, that's right. I forget.
Yeah. Okay.
I just didn't want to give either one of them a hyphen. It seemed unwieldy.
It is
But yeah.
unwieldy. But, so, Laura Hightower, you have been on our show before. You're one of the few people that's ever been invited back. You and Mick Strawn and Ken Boggle. Who else?
Yeah.
We actually have invited people
We've
back.
invited,
that
and
turned us
people have
down.
said they're going to come back, but then they disconnect their phones
You're
and move
making me
away.
feel less special
I know.
as it
No,
I
goes
know.
down.
No,
Well,
it's-
and actually, I cut it off because I was thinking of a story and I didn't want to piss people off. And there's actually people that we haven't had back.
Oh, right, okay.
But they've been fairly supportive of the show.
Well, most people only get one shot.
Which, by the way,
Yeah.
and now there's people out there going, wait, is that why I haven't been back? So thanks for screwing us up,
I know,
Joe.
I know. That's what I was kind of
Hey,
thinking.
if Bryce O'Quay hadn't hated on Booster Gold so much.
No, Bryce, you
know
have a
what?
permanent invitation back just to make Chad angry. Matter of
true.
fact, I'll quit the show. You can take my spot.
But anyway, we love having you on the show. We've
And
wanted to
Ken
have you
Kirk
back
has
for
got
a
a
while.
beard.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
And it just finally, James was in town. You had a night out.
And you wasted it.
And you wasted it coming over here instead of going to Tony's, having a nice steak.
My God, I'm not paying $50 for a steak.
I don't know. I've
just
never
don't.
been to Tony.
No, I've never either because my husband makes fantastic steaks that we get for like $7 from Walmart. So.
Fantastic steak.
Oh, he makes the best steaks I've ever had. It's
He says I
ridiculous.
make really good steak. What is his secret? Why are we
Oh my
talking about
God,
this
why
now?
is this where this is
I don't
going?
because we're old, Joe. That's what we're talking about now. So
Chad's
anyways,
got
we're
a
out
pillow
late
over his
here at
head.
8:30 and
I
we're gonna
actually
talk about
just
making
hit my
steaks.
braces. Ow!
What did he say?
He hit his own braces.
Oh, that's right. Did you know Chad got braces? And he got his first
I-
pube the day before.
Some people don't wait till they're 50, but it's cool. I'm not judging.
What are they, Invisalign or something? Because I don't see
They're
anything.
behind my teeth.
Oh, wow. So is that killing you?
A very.
Yeah. I would say. That's not, yeah.
Did you have braces?
No, I was supposed to, and it explains a lot of what's wrong with me.
No, I don't think that's it. What I was going to say is we loved having you on the show. That's no joke. We keep in contact. We
Yeah.
talked
Good
about
news
your
is I
book
knocked out
more
that
than
peanut
once.
butter.
Now you're a famous author.
Ha ha.
You are now part of so many Twitters and horror community Twitters.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
I am not. You are more popular than me. You're more popular than James. You're almost Chad Instagram popular.
Well,
Chad didn't follow me back on Twitter. I just
Chad doesn't actually check it.
Yeah, I
it's
don't
still
check it.
there, which is an ongoing thing, which is why I always tag him as the veteran
And then
minimalist.
someone who may have been on our show has told us, I dropped him just to see if he noticed.
And I didn't.
He didn't notice because he's never on the
because
Twitter.
he's never on the Twitter.
I'm haphazard
I will
with
get back on Twitter to follow you.
I
appreciate it.
My entire thing about it is every time
James doesn't get off Twitter. He won't answer his fucking phone, but he won't get off Twitter.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of
dude,
how I've gotten.
nobody. Very rarely do I get a phone call that's positive news. It's never like, "Hey,
I
James."
call you all the time to tell you about all those.
Yeah. Anyway,
and aches and shit that's going on.
My phone never rings.
Have you seen what came out of my nose?
I can't
Should it have
imagine
had
why
a
you
vein
would
in it?
skip that.
It had a vein in it.
Why would you skip that call, man?
I don't.
Shout out to Craig.
I don't know.
We actually cleaned that joke up. believe it or not.
Yeah, we did. The insertion was way best.
It was
Way
much
best.
grosser,
Way
Chad.
best.
Much
Way best.
grosser.
Way
I'm
best.
aware.
It had a vein in it.
Anyway,
You know,
No.
you're a large percentage of the reason why I'm a Twitter addict now, right?
well,
Is it really? You keep looking at the thing like, are we done yet?
No, I'm sorry, I'm just entranced. It moves and like I'm easily.
yeah, I did the same
Oh,
thing.
shiny object?
Kind of, yeah.
OMG
it's
squirrel?
Like, it's
Really?
But the thing about Twitter is
it?
my family is on Facebook, and
Yeah.
I love my family.
I agree with you.
But it's like I've got aunts and uncles, and if they listen to this show, and I don't think they do, but if you do, thank you, family, for following up. But that being said, I can't go off on my insane political rants on Facebook without it being so. And I also can't talk about, like, it's funny because now what's funny to me though is my college started following me on Twitter.
Chad looks fascinated.
because we're talking about Twitter.
And once
The tab got caught in my nose.
Jesus,
did it pull out that vein? Anyway,
There's a vein in that Diet Coke.
float.
Diet Coke.
You don't like Diet Coke?
No, it's disgusting.
What do you like?
Anything that does not masquerade as sugar.
You like real sugar?
Yeah.
What's it like having toes?
But
Are you gonna finish your story?
well, I was going to, but we got sidetracked, shockingly.
I'm out of
No,
tea.
but the
no more feet smell.
so I can go off on random tangents, and I even occasionally will tweet stuff like, I don't know why anybody follows me, because it's like random education stuff that I'm mad about, random political stuff that pops up occasionally, and then let me tweet about Star Trek for 20 minutes, and then I'm going to talk about a
You
movie
could
that I
tweet about Bonehead.
You know, here's what's funny. By the
When
way,
I tweet, I almost end it with hashtag Bonehead or at Bonehead.
I know,
Weekly.
and here's what's funny about that, by the way. I think you have more followers than this show does, and I definitely have more followers.
Oh,
and that's
he definitely has more followers. Did you see that?
I'm not making
Pick it
this
up,
up.
bitches.
I'm not making this up. I have more than double the followers of this show, and I'm legitimately
No,
saying,
Twitter. Yeah,
why?
We have more people on Facebook. I mean,
Algorithms. Twitter algorithms.
I guess
But like so, and I was actually going to ask you this because like when you're tweeting as Bonehead, how much do you interact with everyone else's tweets? Do you like? Do you comment? Do you
I
retweet?
try to. Yeah, I try to. And one of the things I have to watch is
it's blood sugar.
Not yet, but close. But we have to.
Cholesterol.
No, mine's perfect actually.
Yeah.
I try to be very, very careful.
Your Hep C blood count?
No, I just don't have blood.
Hep B?
It's nothing but brackish fluid pumping through me right now.
That's
Anyway,
Your acid reflux. We keep going.
Yeah.
I can't take Rididine.
I've got that.
I know.
Kill you.
Kid was taking that.
My son was
Rididine will kill you. What's the
It's
problem?
esophageal cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Which, by the way,
I stopped taking it with Prilosec.
may also be. Well, now that
OMG.
causes heart issues.
And it also like makes your bones weak, but you do you.
Prilosec?
Yeah, Prilosec causes.
You know what it
osteoporosis.
does cause? Me not to wake up at 3 a.m. gagging from acid reflux.
No,
Jesus,
eventually.
this has become like the oldest fucking show.
Hold
Did
on.
I do this
Let me-
by like?
no, no.
Yes,
we're
you
talking
did. You
about our
came in,
fucking
you were
acid
limping like,
reflux.
I need tea before I go on the air. Tell your wife to make some tea. And I want some fucking crumpets. It's a biscuit, but it could be a cookie. Did you hear about Prince Harry? Fuck him. Sorry, I don't know where I'm going.
I wish you never would have started that journey.
Yeah.
But no. So going back to I try to not retweet political things, and the problem
you know.
is I switch back and forth between my personas.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'll be bonehead and I'll like an education thing. I'm like, no, unlike.
Bonehead
Because
doesn't
You
like
give me
education.
shit about a Prince Harry joke when he's going on about his personas.
no, well, I'm just saying.
I didn't say anything about Prince Harry. He said about Prince Harry. I'm sitting here.
He did. I didn't
I
say
did.
anything about Prince.
I don't know what's going on.
Are you even listening to this
Nope.
conversation? Will you get him a
sore
puzzle?
because he's been packing fucking snowmen up one flight of stairs
Will
for
you
2
get
weeks.
him a puzzle to do so he'll be engaged?
I thought he was going to say something else.
I'm afraid
Give him a puzzle.
About 10 piece.
Hey,
I'm
nothing
afraid
big.
he's gonna hurt himself with it.
I know.
we only give him
Hold on.
the
Look at this little.
We only give him the one in the wooden boxes.
Here we
that you
go.
put him
I
in.
took care of it.
All right. So
Anyway,
we have
yeah.
Laurel Hightower. Thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
jokes
for
aside,
having
we
me.
love having you. This is the reason why I like having you. It breaks it up a little bit. I feel like we've gotten stale. This is good. I'm just saying. Anyway, love having you on the show. You are a published author. We will get through your books. I just want to say something really quick.
Yeah.
So, and this has nothing to do with you. Hang on for 30 more seconds, 1 more minute, and I'll kill
right,
this.
We've waited 15. Well, I'll break it up now.
James Thomas used to work for me. Work with me. When did you work with me?
Oh.
When did you leave the institution in which we worked?
19 months ago?
19 months
18,
ago.
18.
18. It was 2018, right?
Yeah.
Someone was cleaning out the refrigerator at work and said, "Whose Diet Mountain Dews are these?" Well, there's 18 people that work there, right? And none of us drink Diet Mountain Dew. And I said, "No, it can't be. Can't be. He's been gone almost 2 years. The expiration on these dates are," will you read that for me, please? How are your eyes? Are they getting old too?
October 22nd, 2018.
That would be right. That motherfucker left these at work for 2 years and nobody bothered to clean out the refrigerator or find them.
I left behind Diet Mountain Dew. I've never been more effing ashamed of myself.
I've never been
right
more
now.
ashamed of you either. So here you go, sir. These are yours.
Is it because you wasted it or
I
because
wanna
you
say-
revealed what you were
yes.
drinking?
I wanna
Well,
give
no,
out-
no. I mean, I used to drink real Mountain Dew when I was extreme.
I hate.
But now years ago, I had a bad doctor, and he's no longer my doctor. But he literally looked
this
at me
is
and
your
said,
fault because you asked a question.
He-
And now he's talking about his medical history.
He looked at me
you're
and
gonna say,
said,
"Have you kids in the daycare?
no, he looked at me and he said,
What do you think about the
because this is one
daycare?"
of Joe's pet peeves too. He looked at me and he said, "Well, you're a heavyset guy. Let's just go ahead and monitor your blood
It
sugar
is
for
one of
6
my
months."
pet peeves, yeah.
And so he made me do the finger prick for 6 months. It never went above 90. Never was bad. But I got so paranoid, I did give up sugary soda.
Well, it's probably good that you did.
I did, but
Here,
I'm no
there's
longer
another one.
extreme.
You get
Here's
two.
some more saccharin. Get cancer.
get
And
two.
there you
Now
go.
I'm diet extreme. Evidently,
Diet
You're
extreme.
diet extreme.
I know what
I can
hate-
only get diet vertical.
Really quick, I hate saying the word shout out, but I don't know how else to say it. Shout out to Christopher Crutchfield. Thank you, Christopher Crutchfield, for pointing that out and figuring out the mystery of the Diet
I
Mountain
can't believe
Dew.
I left behind Diet
I don't know
Mountain
how they got hidden in the refrigerator for almost 2 years.
Dude, seriously, when was the last time? You know, the last time I know that
I thought
refrigerator
it
was-
actually was cleaned out a few months ago, but we
No, no. You know the last time you gave a shout. The last time I remember somebody cleaning out that refrigerator.
Who?
It's somebody that no longer works there.
Did we fire them?
No. I will just say, because I don't want to name her. I don't know how she'd feel about being named on this fine program. But she was a former military service member
Alicia.
who
Who just got melted down one day and started cleaning.
I will never forget. She was like, "And the right touch this expletive fridge in the last 5 years that I've worked here." Alicia, I got hired after you, and I don't know of anybody. I'm going to go to my office and cry.
All right. So, we have you on the show today. James has a list of questions.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
He messaged us and said he had questions.
No, I did.
Now he seems
And then I
did.
said, "What's new
reluctant.
Friday
I
night?"
did
And I
know.
said,
Okay,
"Well,
so
you're
my
already
mouth
on
is
this
here.
message, Laurel. I went ahead and invited you."
Here's
I
my
did.
forehead. Here's my
I
forehead.
thought you might be fun.
I did.
Well,
I did. I
can't
do
leave the house
have
2 nights in a row.
I do have questions.
What's it like being dick whipped?
It's
I've
not as
seen
much
it on the
fun
porn.
as it's not as much fun as you thought. Oh, that wasn't for me.
Another crook.
See,
That could be a
that's a
movie.
tricky dick whip.
It's a lot more to do with
I can't do a Dick
whose
Miller
night
impression.
it is to sleep.
Can't do a Richard Dixon impression
A
either.
Richard Dixon?
I can't talk braces.
You can't talk braces?
Braces.
Donna
Well,
Dixon?
maybe we get more viewers if we did a whole podcast month to month about braces. Show!
Run, rabbit, run.
Run, run, yeah. All right, anyway, what's some of your
no,
questions?
what-
You are a published author. What's your
Yes.
name
One
of
of
your
the
book?
things that you
Still
also
the Night.
Whispers in the dark.
Oh my God.
Actually, there's a copy right over there.
It's on your shelf. You could have put that on the table.
I could have.
I've seen
Actually,
it.
I think Christy took it upstairs. She's reading it.
I've read it. It's cool. It's okay.
There's no any desire to ever read your book again.
Actually, that's one of the things. I've never read it since it got published.
But why would you want to?
Do you ever go back, though, and read something that you wrote? Because I've heard other authors say this, that they usually don't go back and read it, but every blue moon they'll go back and read, and they'll be like, I forgot how good that sound, or, that there was this little thing that I planted that I didn't
That sounds
know.
like a Harlan Ellison quote. It sounds extremely egotistical.
No, one of the, I mean, it's not necessarily egotistical, because there's a couple authors that I follow, and they will go back and say, like, somebody will quote them and give them credit, luckily. But then they'll say, I don't remember, like, where did you get that quote from?
And they're probably just relieved because it's like, oh, okay, thank God that was actually me and not, someone else. It's because from my perspective, like, I spent so much time editing.
Yeah.
And, like, you're the last line of defense in publication. So, like, once everything's been done, they give you the layout, and you have a PDF layout, and it's like, all right, it's on you. And I caught, like, 133 errors in the last
Oh my
run-through.
God.
Now, this was not stuff that was like,
Don't you have an editor?
Oh, yeah, no, but no, my editor was fantastic. And the copy editor was fantastic. But this is all stuff that, like, and the
Probably don't need to
assistant
put my
publisher.
foot, sorry.
It's,
Who wants to look at my
what you want
hairy
with your
toes?
foot. It might have something to do with the smell of your tea, though. I'm just saying. Like, we put the foot
No,
by the
the
tea.
tea
and it's not, but,
clean. I wash it once a
Well,
week.
I don't know where the foot smell's coming from, too, but I'm not.
Oddly
I'm just saying
enough,
it's
my
from your
fingers.
tea. Good to know.
Don't ask.
But no, it's. I think it has to do sometimes with like the layout errors, because I've noticed it in other books that I've read where it's like there will be these weird spacing errors and stuff like that, and so a huge part of what I do for my job is proofread.
Yeah.
And so I'm just very used to that, and I flagged all these errors. But yeah, so like now, since I have no chance to go back and fix it, I'm terrified to look at it because I'm afraid I'm gonna find like 400 things that I should have caught.
But also there's that pressure, I would imagine, to I think you had a tweet up about you're already on to the next 3 things, right?
Yeah.
And then so it's really hard to then go back and be like, well, let me go back to.
Yeah.
It's that the working author issue is that you don't get to finish a book and be like, this is it forever.
Yeah, let me hand it off. I mean, not until it's actually like gone and done, and then, yeah. But everything in writing takes fucking forever.
Oh,
It's glacial. It is absolutely glacial.
More glacial than making a movie?
Yes, I would argue.
Never made a movie.
I would argue yes, Joe, and the reason I would argue yes is at least you have, like, you could take a clip from something we shot. If we shot something today, you could take it, do some editing, rough edit, and at least show it to somebody and be like, what do you think about this scene?
You could do that with something you wrote.
But
back in the 90s, sure. 80s. No, I mean, I'm saying, like, it used to be a thing where you could say, I've got, 100 pages of a manuscript. I sure think I'll send that off to a publisher. You cannot fucking do that now. Like, you better have, like, a super well-polished, finished product. Now, I'm speaking from, Laurel level down here. Like, if you're Brian Keene, if you're, Jonathan Chance, if you're Hunter Shea, or, one of the horror guys up here.
Yes.
Joe Joe is more familiar with books about cats and hats.
Have you ever have you ever heard of that Dean Koontz boy? He could tell a twisted tale, let me tell you.
Dogs with hands. Dogs with hands. Dean, I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
Actually, I've only ever read one Dean Koontz novel, but anyway, keep going.
Well, I mean,
nobody takes unsolicited work.
Well, and
do they?
Well,
nobody in the movie industry takes. That's the problem with the movie industry and screenwriting as a whole, is that you have to have an agent, and to get an agent, that's the catch-22.
Well, and that's one of the things that
no one takes unsolicited work.
It's for the indie presses. What you more have are like submission calls. So you'll have like a press say, we're open for submissions between X date and X date, and here's what we're looking for, and here's our specs. So
So they're looking for. And I'm not being sarcastic, but they're looking for maybe an evil truck comes to life, or they're looking for some sort of creature feature novel, or they're looking for a science fiction novel, and it needs to be 300 to 400 pages, and it needs to have X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I mean, it's along those lines. It's
so for a movie thing, it would be Corman in the 70s and 60s. You can do basically what you wanted to.
Yeah.
As long as it had, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but if it had tits like once every act, you got a car crash here, here, and here, and there was so much blood and action, then you could go make the movie you wanted.
Death Race is an example.
That makes sense. I can see why that would, from a sales perspective, why that would be something.
But you know,
and that's the way it was. So yes, I have to do these, but there's amazing freedom in that. So I was just asking, is it something like that or what?
I mean, you don't, and this is a big discussion too, as far as like, do you write to market, or do you write, you know, what the story that makes sense to you, the story that, you know, and I don't actually think there's a correct answer to that question. Because the other part of it is, like, with the number of indie presses that are out there, and we have some just fucking amazing, wonderful indie presses that are doing incredible things with, you know, very small budgets. And they might put out a submission call, and it's you know, it might be a lot wider than that. It might just say, we're looking for anything with, you know, supernatural, we're looking at haunted houses, we're looking at ghosts, you know. No, I mean, it depends. Sometimes you'll have a call like that's, you know, we want, like you said, you know, creature features, or we want, you know, but a lot of times it's a little wider than that. They have more of a scope on the length because there's a price break point. With the smaller presses, it's more expensive for a smaller press to print a longer novel. It makes the novel itself more expensive.
So like, 300 is your magic number?
300 pages, I'd go down to 200.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I had no concept of that when I wrote Whispers in the Dark. It's 109,000 words, ended up being like 317 pages. It's $19.95. It's more expensive than a lot of Stephen King paperbacks, which before I understood how that worked, I was like, this is really embarrassing, you know, because it's like, why would you pay that much for, you know?
But Stephen King paperbacks are longer than that.
It's because of the larger...
There's a bunch over there.
It's the larger presses. It's there, and I don't know, I mean, I am not a publisher, but it's...
No, they just have easier access to...
Yeah, it's the
they
buying
publish
power,
more, how much you buy,
yeah,
you get a better
it's
deal.
that kind of thing. So, yeah.
That makes sense.
You can, when you know... So it looks, and again, it's interesting because I've heard a lot in the larger publishing industry that novellas are like not a thing, you know. There's just no market for them. But in the horror market, it's huge. Like that is really a sweet spot if you can fit a story into that.
Into 200 pages.
Yeah, well, yeah. 200 is still really novel. Novella, you're looking at
150,
like word count.
But I mean, the Mist is 100 between 120. The Mist is about 150. I consider that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty much a novella. It varies, you know, but yeah.
I guess I don't know the definitions as well as you do. Sorry.
We were just having this discussion on word count. I think I said more like the word count than anything else.
Oh, okay.
But.
So then that also depends on layout. Yeah.
What's Poseidus?
So it's
when Bernice sits beside us.
Itis means swelling.
Really
so swelling of your burrs.
Remind me not to talk. Stop looking at the big phallic thing in the air.
It's right in my face.
Well, out of all of them, you're the one who did the whole slapping thing.
So we were talking about you know, the publishing process and all of that stuff. One of the things.
Let's applause! Yay!
I'm going to.
He was having a serious comment, and you made it interesting, Chad.
Yeah, how dare you make that show interesting? But one of the things that I've been told several different times
is to get out, sir. Put your shirt back on.
Please leave the store. But agents. And looking at agents and stuff, and I know there's now somebody recommended to me. Someone was trying to help me, and they said. QueryTracker.net, I may be misrepresenting a website, but even just the process of finding an agent and the challenges with that. Yeah. And how specific some of them are and some of them are not. My favorite listing I've ever seen, and I literally was like, I want to read the book that comes out of this, but it was, you know, we're looking for Jewish feminist mysteries. And I'm like, I want to read one now. Please find that author. But
he's plotting to get one.
Ruth? I think Faye Kellerman might write those, actually.
But, you know, it's really interesting because this agent specifically said, I have queries open for... I have queries open for this.
Is she really?
No.
That'd be funny.
That's Jonathan Kellerman's wife. But, and I might be totally misrepresenting what she writes, but I think I remember there's...
Did you read it? Tell the truth, you don't read.
Yeah, I never read anything at all.
You just read your own shit and
I
go,
just read my
brilliant!
own. I do.
Throwing it across the
It's a
room.
hair flip. You know.
If I've learned anything from following tons of
Don't tell me
authors
you're gonna
on
check your
Twitter,
nails.
if you ask all of them, they will tell you, don't read anything, just watch TV. TV will answer all your questions.
It's pretty much true.
Who do you follow?
Nobody.
Man?
Literally, it's I follow. I follow some screenwriters too, but I love, and I know you just got the book Wonders. Chuck Wendig is fun to follow. He occasionally goes off on random topics, and and I think I love following him as somebody that wants to eventually write. Him and John Scalzi both, because they're both. Here's how we did it. By the way, this won't work for you because it shouldn't have worked for us.
Just to verify, Laurel, Kellerman. Oh crap! I lost it. Oh shit!
You never had it.
No! I've not. Oh, her writing frequently deals with Jewish themes and characters, incorporating them into a framework of the traditional mystery.
Well, there you go.
I'm a little proud of myself.
Now
I
you read
specific. No, I have read Jonathan Kellerman's work, and I've kind of looked at Faye Kellerman's, and not quite sure it's up my alley. But so the answer is no. I
want to make so many bad jokes, but I'm not going to because you want to sell some books. I'm not worried about me staying on the air because they're not going to take me down.
They would have to watch us.
They'd have to watch and listen to know.
So we talked about Twitter. Who are some people you follow on Twitter?
Oh well, yeah, and I'll back up and say just real quick on this. If you want to write, then I strongly suggest that you get on Twitter. Because one of the big things that I found out after my book was published in December of last year is that your job is not done. It's just starting.
That's true.
It is.
With any art.
Yeah. Well, and it's really not the way it used to be, though.
With authors, I think it's always been that way for movies.
Well, and
finishing the short film is just one act of it. Don't you guys agree? Mm-hmm. James and I don't know, we spent hundreds of dollars promoting Murder Virgin. Hundreds of dollars. And I got expensive. We submitted to.
Well, I was gonna say once, and when you do all of that, and my favorite thing is we do have an IMDb page for that side film.
It's lovely.
But it is one of the things where when we put in the budget for it, I got an email from IMDb and it literally said, "Are you sure this was the budget?" And I was like, "Absolutely."
Yeah, but we spent most of that on Little Caesars and boxes of wine.
Yeah, this. We did not use Screen Actor Guild actors for a reason. Yeah. We couldn't afford those people.
But anyway, you were saying, so it doesn't end there.
Right, yeah. And it's just one thing that I would just really strongly recommend is if you are looking to write, go ahead and get on Twitter. If you have already written something, get on Twitter. If you have published something and you're sitting around with crickets in your living room waiting for reviews, that was me this time last year. Get on Twitter because you will learn a lot of things. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people that I follow that I would recommend. Most of mine is kind of subject to the horror genre because that's, where I hang out. But, Gabino Iglesias is big. Do you follow him?
I do now. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. No, he's big on hustle. He has a lot of good advice.
Matter of fact, I think that he just published an interview or something.
Lit Reactor. About his
last year of hustling.
Yeah. His last year of hustling. That guy doesn't sleep from what I can tell.
So does he make a living writing?
Not yet. But he's a teacher and he's got 2 novels in print. And I think at least 1 or 2 collections. And I'm sorry, Gabino, I'm going to get that screwed up. I apologize. But Zero
Don't worry,
Seeds,
he's not listening.
It's true. He's not. But in case you are, hi. So yeah.
Please subscribe.
If you want to come on the show, come on.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about feet and tea the first 10 minutes, though.
We'll buy you bourbon.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'll buy you bourbon, Gabino, if you come to Kentucky. You're good.
If you come to Kentucky, what about the show?
I'll buy him bourbon if he comes to the show.
See, aren't you glad you came back so we could treat you more as a friend this time around?
Hey, hold up. This dipshit's never bought us bourbon.
I buy bourbon for people I like, Chad.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
You bought that cannonball shit.
That was delicious, and you're a hypocrite.
I think it's still under the table.
Oh, is it? Why am I drinking Diet Mountain Dew like a sucker?
You could be drinking Cannonball.
Cannonball.
It's like a cannonball.
I don't see any bourbon.
Well, we'll get it out for you in a minute. It's not bourbon.
No, I'm good. I don't see anything, but thanks. So yeah, he's good to follow. I would absolutely follow Sci-Fi and Scary. there's a lot of review sites, which is where I started. Because I had submitted to a whole lot of review sites to request reviews. And then I started screwing around on Twitter and following them. And that's kind of just where I started with it. So, yeah. The Ladies of Horror Fiction. Next month, by the way, is Women in Horror Fiction Month. I screwed that name up. But it's Women in Horror something month.
It's in February?
Yes, yeah. That's February. It's our month.
That's your month?
It's our month.
The shortest month.
That happens to a lot of...
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, I just realized that connection.
Yeah,
but,
you didn't pick up on that from the moment, from the jump. As soon as you said it, I made the connection and then thinking,
we like our month. We like our month. We're cool
I guess.
we like it.
It's cold.
We've got a lot going on.
Could snow. Could rain.
I don't mind the rain sometimes. I've screwed that up. The images it shows.
So what do you guys celebrate during the month?
Well, I mean,
do you get some sort of pagan ritual? I hope.
Yeah, but those are individualized. I mean, that's per person. But I'm
being a kind of a smart ass. But seriously, what do you do?
Well, I wasn't.
How do you publicize it?
I wasn't really, much part of the community last year at this time. But from what I'm seeing this year, like it's a lot of. I mean,
put up a Women in Horror tree.
You know what? We should. We need a tree.
You do. You can hang everybody's faces.
We do. Well, dang, I didn't bring him. We actually have Carly of A Stranger Dream Bookmarks makes.
I'll get them for you.
Show us.
Yeah, thank you.
Show us your goodies.
Okay, so yeah.
That is not what I meant by that.
Oh my God!
I meant she brought a bag of goodies.
Just ignoring
it.
We were talking
about. I really didn't.
We were talking about women in
Normally
horror,
I mean
and he
something
done
by
screwed
it.
up.
Yeah, he went there with it.
But I didn't mean it that time.
So we will go back to talking about Women in Horror Fiction Month, but this also includes Carly of A Stranger Dream. So this is kind of one of these. I'm going to be all over the place with this, but this is kind of one of these cool things that I have found on Twitter. That,
so we do. Most people are listening now. So can you describe it?
Oh damn. Okay. Yeah. Sure. So what I have are a bunch of wicked awesome bookmarks,
and they are very amazing bookmarks.
Very, very Bostonian.
Yeah, they're just beautifully done. They're basically, she calls these the paper doll versions because they're the cutout versions. I've got a Pennywise. I have the creepy ghost lady from Room 237 in The Shining. I have a Death's Head moth, just in case you are watching. I have the Demigorgon, which is absolutely lovely. Yeah. I have, because I am a basic white girl, I have this pumpkin that says Laurel on it to go with my pumpkin spice latte that I drink all year long. This is
that true?
Fuck yes. If I can get it, are you kidding me? I am so basic. I don't care. I'm not even worried about it. I love pumpkin spice. It's delicious.
Oh.
You're not big. Are we going somewhere else with that?
It's
not a big...
James, that's rude.
It's hard for me to throw rocks. Chad and I have ordered eggnog lattes before, so
I don't drink coffee, but I mock them for eggnog lattes.
Diet Mountain Dew, man, and
Diet
Coke. You go gag over in your pillow all you want, sir.
I do not question.
I didn't do James.
That's right. You talk shit to them. I'll take a Diet Coke too.
Yeah.
I will not.
Truly, he would prefer a wild cherry Pepsi. Diet Pepsi.
No, not anymore.
The smell of aspartame.
No, I agree with you. And when I switched, it was almost impossible. But I don't like coffee. Coffee just tastes bad to me. It's some sort of genetic flaw that I have. So I need caffeine though. And one will sacrifice for caffeine. My wife made me give up Vivarin.
I was going to say something else.
Give up what?
Vivarin caffeine pills. What you can do, you see, is crush them up and you mix them with normal Mountain Dew and you take the paste and put it under your tongue. I did this entire thing in front of a student once and they started gagging. It was great.
That might be the most redneck.
It's better than the cocaine he used to sniff. I'm joking. He would never pay for coke.
No.
I've been out with him so many times that I was like, when you buying the coke? And he wouldn't buy it.
Just Vivarin, man.
Tuna.
Just Vivarin. But...
Yes.
One of the things, so getting back to women in horror.
Yes, women in horror.
Because obviously that's what you want to talk about.
Women in horror, though, women have always had a place in horror that has been ignored. Because people think Mary Shelley, but
but why wouldn't they?
I know, but before you even had Dracula, vampires used to be ruled by Camilla. Was the first vampire novel. Nobody remembers it because Bram Stoker wrote Dracula, and everybody's like,
I think there's some movies that deal with it.
But Camilla was a
chicken
overtones of
Gonzo.
lesbianism and all, and it was written well before Dracula.
Who was the author on that?
Oh, who was
Gonzo?
Who's the author on? I
It's a
should know.
fucking Muppet. Why is everyone ignoring Camilla the chicken?
I'm ignoring you because you're not contributing.
Chad agrees.
Babies.
Make dream come true.
Thank you.
Aw, can you go on another podcast and get that? We're special.
No, who cried?
We're special. We get a government check for taking care of our own selves every month.
Sheridan Le Fanu.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that Spanish?
1870.
Oh, that's after Frankenstein.
No, preceding. It preceded.
I know.
1872. Anyway,
Frankenstein.
So,
About 26 years.
but I believe it was a male author. But I mean, so women as
Yeah, Irish author Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu.
and we get Mary Shelley for Frankenstein, but she also wrote one of the first plague novels, followed up Frankenstein. And I say all of this to say there's always been female horror characters. There's been female authors, obviously. It always blows my mind that we live in a society where people ignore that.
Well, it's because in large part, and what you will commonly hear. This is another part I really like about the sort of community I'm in, and I mean you've probably noticed it too. Is like the focus on diversity, and what you will commonly hear. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with people who say this. They mean it correctly when they say, well, I don't pay attention to gender, or I don't pay attention. I just pay attention to the book, and that's fine if we can, absolutely, yes, across the board, everyone is equal. But then if you're not expending the effort to find it, you're not going to find it. Because if you go look on the shelves of any bookstore, if they have a horror section, it is dominated by like the same 5 guys, which I'm not knocking them. I mean, Stephen King, I love Stephen King. I love Joe Hill. There's a number of authors that are on those shelves that I admire greatly, but they are not the only authors that are available. It's certainly not the only
Paula
authors.
Dean had to
that
go
are
write that
reading.
werewolf movie book.
Did Paula Dean?
Oh my God,
It wasn't werewolf. It was a meatloaf recipe
butter than
that
dead.
turned bad.
Butter than dead.
Butter than dead. It's butter, y'all. It's butter than dead.
No, but
Anyway,
you're right. No,
Then
it's all-
say something racist after butter than you dead.
Well, and it's
And then she ends up dead at the end, right?
Paula Dean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, well, that's the only fair way to end
No,
it.
but
It seems like a lot of people get away with a lot of shit. Especially when
they
they're the
slip her some
1%ers.
tofu and she melts.
Okay, write that. You guys.
Oh, you're okay with that, but
Yes.
screw our other ideas.
but
I'm just more about watching Paula Dean.
But one of the
Yeah, me
one
too.
One of the authors that I got exposed to, I was in college, I guess, was Poppy Z. Bride.
Oh, no, I've read Poppy Z. Bride.
Yeah.
And
Is she still writing?
Um,
Does anybody know? She's
do
bigger
not
than
know.
I am.
yes,
Yeah, she was.
yes.
She was.
Let's see, I have a copy of Wormwood.
and I believe,
and
and I may be reversing this, but I believe it. He is writing. Went through gender reassignment.
I did not know that.
I didn't
was
know that
trans-
either.
Trans. So
was
Poppy Z. Bride.
transgender
Okay.
and
Was
and
the, what,
She's now,
did he
she
have?
is now Billy Martin.
Okay, I was going to ask
And
if
so-
he had a
Well,
name
no wonder I
change.
can't
Okay.
find her damn books.
Well, and quit writing for you. And the only reason I know this was I read, and Joe, you're going to slap me for this, I know, but one of the reasons that I discovered Poppy Z. Bride in college is because Harlan Ellison went off on a rant and said, if you don't know who Poppy Z. Bride is, you're wasting your time and mine. On one of his rants that he used to do on
I think
and
I knew a
I picked
woman.
up Poppy Z. Bride because of that, but I read it and it's a lot of short stories,
Yeah.
a lot of, but they stuck with me because I was like, most of them involve some sex, most of them involve violence, but every one of them, you could take away the sex, you could take away the violence, you would change the story. I'm not saying that sex is there just to sell sex, but there's still something about the lyric quality of that writing that gets
I
under
haven't
the
read
skin.
her in so long. I
It's like
think
her last novel was his novel was in 2006.
so it's been a while.
Well, and the only reason I know
I'm
anything
trying
about
to
it
remember
was,
I think it was a woman who introduced her to me, or now him.
but that's one of the things that.
Oh no, I'm sorry, 2016.
I was gonna say,
Wow, yeah,
he
The
was
Crystal Empire.
he was going to return to writing, but I know lives in New Orleans, I believe, and lost their home to he and his partner lost their home or was badly damaged in a storm.
That's
And
awful.
they lost so much, and they at one point, I know they were doing a Kickstarter or something to restore the home.
And now every book that she sells from now on
By the way,
is going to the Poppy Z. Bright, what's his new name, Foundation.
He's from Kentucky.
That I sell, that's only going to get you like, I don't know, $50 a year.
Was Poppy Z. Bright? I don't think that's her actual name though.
Was that a pen name?
It's a pen name. Yeah,
His prior pen name.
Yeah, this gets confusing.
Well, I know, but we gotta.
No, and it's he. I mean, but I think that's that. But I say all that to say I think that's one of the things that I do love about the horror community, because that has been ongoing for 20 years, and Poppy Z. Bright, now what was it?
Billy Martin.
Billy Martin. It wasn't even quote unquote hidden, and I think so much of that. I think about science fiction, which is my other big love.
Yeah.
Dorothy Fontana recently passed. She went by the pen name DC Fontana.
Oh,
and having to hide
big.
gender.
Yes.
And having to do, and horror always seems to have, and I'm not saying there's not bias, because Lord knows it's everywhere, and it's not just gender. But for some reason, it seems like horror is more welcoming in some ways.
Well, horror and don't you think? I think science fiction is slightly.
Science fiction is to a point, but I think
genre. Can we say genre?
Yeah. There's. I think there is some challenges of gatekeeping.
The cool thing about horror, and to me, and Chad and I, we talked about this in a previous episode, and he said we're talking about horror. My favorite movies. They're not. Probably some sort of dark fantasy is. I love just movies. But the thing that I love about horror is that you can tell any story within a horror framework, and you will buy into it. You can put any story in a horror framework. Anyway, because the conceit, or what a lot of people, and this is more specific towards movies, but it's not. I think it's true of both, of just storytelling, is that it was the Western. You can tell any story in a Western. I slightly disagree. I think you can tell any story in a horror. There is a certain amount of buy-in when I say this is a horror movie, that if you're as an audience, you're going to say, okay.
Yeah.
That you'll take another step forward. You will suspend a little bit more disbelief for just another thing. I think, to me, probably the greatest thing about horror is I can tell, or you can tell, any story in that. As long as it, like any genre, has expected outcomes and expected tropes. As long as you stay in this.
Once you set up your world, don't violate your
world. And if you're in a horror and you deliver X, Y, and Z, right? You can tell any story you want. Whether that be about someone transitioning, whether that be someone. And you can tell it in so many different fascinating ways that aren't necessary. That here's the text, here's the subtext, and here's the fucking floor text.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Down here's the basement.
And it's interesting too that you say it like that, because this is I'm working on a project that I hope.
Do you need a director?
Chad. I need you to direct me to write the shit that I need to write, but it's
You should write Bonehead's new short film.
There you go.
Because Bonehead isn't writing it.
These things on your hands. Put them on the cardboard. Move it.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Chad.
Oh my God, that's what I've been doing wrong. I've been putting Coke bottles on my hands and doing that scene for.
Well, you have a writer at work, and I swear I just stopped because she's antisocial in every stereotype, and I swear she never laughed not one time of me going by going, I don't hear any clickety clacks.
She had nothing to say about that.
No, I thought it was funny. Really, I'm only here to entertain myself.
Oh, she had tons of things.
As long as you've got that handled.
She had
truly know that it's really if I'm laughing.
She had tons of things to say. She just sent them all to HR.
She sent them all. Well, the HR's yet to come talk to me. But yes, Laura, we don't hear any of the clickety clacks on the Bonehead movie.
Not right at the moment. But yeah, one of the projects I'm working on for Women in Horror Fiction Month next month has to do with marginalized voices, and it's one of those things, like, again, that. And, I mean, if you don't think about it, if you're not exposed to it, if you're not talking to writers who are those marginalized voices, you don't realize how much you're missing out on when they're not able to get their stories out there for other people to read. And I mean, it's because the variation, the different upbringings, the different challenges that you come across when you grow up, LGBTQ, when you grow up, in a different ethnicity, any kind of minority like that. There's just so much to it. And I mean, there's a lack of character sometimes included in it, and there's a lack of, and some of that has to do with understanding. I'm afraid to write a character that I don't understand well enough to express well. But the way that you resolve that is you read those characters as written by people who know something about it, and you spend time with people so that you, I just think it's something that's important that's being done.
So what are you writing?
Me personally? Oh, this project, or you're talking about just everything I'm working on?
Well, you're talking about it. So is it an essay? Is it a short story?
It's more of an essay. It's a guest post for I'm a guest contributor for a review site. Hi, Patrick. Called Deadhead Reviews.
Pinkies up. That sounds fancy.
Isn't it? We're fancy, aren't we? We're fancy.
FAF.
Yes.
I'm so fancy.
We are fancy as fuck.
And fancy free.
Yeah. So
loose and fancy.
Ready for the big time. Is it ready for me? Moving right along.
This is almost a musical that you guys do.
We sing a lot. Nice. And you obviously don't listen to the show.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
It's okay. I still owe you a review. I was thinking about 30 minutes ago, and God, Jesus, you're a fat asshole. Not you, me.
James wrote a review.
I know, but I still owe you a review.
I think I got one.
I did buy the book. Didn't you want the shekels more than the review?
No, reviews sell books.
Not the one I'm about to write.
I mean, then you can say it. No. I
accept all reviews, negative, positive,
whether they're incorrect or not.
No, it's you know what? It's not for everybody. You can hate it, and we can still be chill.
It's not it. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, but I'm just saying in general.
I asked you to write the Bonehead movie, Jesus.
For exposure, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna pay me exposure.
You get paid as soon as these three motherfuckers get paid.
I died of exposure.
I died, yeah.
One of the things that you said that actually triggered a thought in my head was being able.
All the other ones, right?
Well, no, I mean, sometimes there's just the wheel's turning, but the hamster's dead. I have that problem. But you mentioned knowing and
you got a zombie hamster, kill it.
Getting to know the wind blower.
Hamster days.
But you mentioned the value of other voices and things like that, and it actually triggered one of my favorite scenes in I guess technically a horror novel that I've read in the past 2 years. I now actually use it in class.
Is this from a Goosebumps?
No, it's Lovecraft Country.
Goosebumps is fucking awesome anyways.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. It's a gateway drug.
I missed it. I was Fear Street, which is pre-Goosebumps.
Ooh, Fear Street was good.
And there's a few of those.
It's a different age range, though. I feel like Fear Street's older.
Yeah, my kids
I was reading it
Goosebumps.
younger.
As we're, but I mean, I'm just saying.
I think I read Misery. When did you read your first Stephen King? I read Misery in 7th grade, I think.
7th grade, I read it.
Yeah, 7th grade.
But anyway, the Lovecraft Country,
which is becoming a TV show.
Yeah, and I hope they do justice to the book, because my favorite scene in Lovecraft Country, and the reason I tell students they need to read it.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of Cthullu go, she left me for another dimension. That bitch is gone into the great big bleakness of hell. Took the damn dog.
Oh my God!
Squid monsters.
Oh my God! Why don't you record that album?
Sci-fi scary. I love it.
This is the Kraken.
That's the Kraken, or is it Kraken or Kraken?
I say Kraken, but it's probably wrong.
It's Release the Cracker.
Release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
Hold on, let me start doing my knee back and forth, and we'll release the Kraken.
That's
so you have a Lovecraft.
That's Ricketts.
Lovecraft Country.
But Lovecraft Country, there's a scene in Lovecraft Country, the novel, where near the end of it, if anybody's not read Lovecraft Country is about, and it's funny that Green Book was made later, but there used to actually be a safe travel guide for African Americans when they're driving a car, and that's kind of the background of Lovecraft Country. It's the nephew of the guy that runs that business and all that stuff, and then the father disappears and he has to go find them. And there's some white supremacy. The cover for the book it basically blends Cthulhu with white supremacy. And it sounds really weird to do that, but it works really well. But there's this scene where the warlock, whatever, villain says, "You will, if you try to fight me, you'll spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder having to wonder who's watching you and all that stuff. And the protagonist, who is an African American in the 1950s, starts to laugh. And he says, that is our day-to-day life. And I read that entire scene and I was like, that is...
Yeah.
I'm not an African American male. I've never... But I was like, that line, that interchange...
Yes.
Was... I literally was like, this book... And I use it in class. I teach higher ed and social justice. But I'm like, you can read this book as an option for the course.
Well, you can connect with that. And that is such a benefit of using art in that fashion.
Well, and it's just a really great, because for me, it gives them the history that, yes, there used to actually be, you had to buy a travel guide to say, you don't want to stop at this hotel, you'll disappear.
Yeah.
Or, you can eat at this restaurant, but only between 5 and 9. And stuff like that. And it gives that actual historical context. Matt Ruff, I believe, is the author. He does a great job of giving the history, but then he weaves in this Cthulhu, Lovecraft type mentality, and I probably read that book in 3 sittings because I was like, I want to know what happens.
Did you know that there's such a thing as? Had you ever heard of cosmic horror?
Yeah. And I'm speaking
like the color out of space, and you mean?
Yeah, but like a whole. I just didn't know that there was like an entire genre that's basically just like has those elements of cosmic horror sort of pulled from Lovecraft, and there's a lot of it. I mean, I didn't know that was a thing, but it's... I
don't know.
Well, I
didn't know. Is there a ton?
Actually, yeah.
Well, there used to be an entire card game called Mythos, back when card games were huge. You had Magic, but Mythos was... And it was all... Like, you could get cards of Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft, and you could do all the interactions.
Me neither.
Boom!
I'm surprised we both had the energy to reach across James and do that.
It would have been even weirder if you all did the Wonder Twins thing and one of you changed forms.
I'm almost through part 2 of Dracula because I didn't sleep.
Is it good?
It's good. I like the guys playing Dracula.
Okay, I want to watch it. I'll eventually get to it.
Have you guys watched The Witcher at all?
Yes,
Not
I've
yet.
finished it.
I want to watch it.
We just watched the first episode.
Is it so bad it's
actually
good, like people say?
I've heard it's non-linear, or it's linear, but it doesn't, it'll be like...
The timeline, if you're not paying attention, the timeline will mess with you.
That's what it seemed like just from the first episode.
Oh, it gets worse.
From some of the stuff that they referred to. I mean, I'm taking it for what it appears to be, and it's entertaining.
Yes, it's entertaining. It's straight up entertaining.
Yeah.
All I've heard is that the coin for The Witcher or whatever will get stuck in my head, and maybe it can finally replace Lizzo. But why are men great till they gotta be great, Chad? I just took a DNA test.
Chad, you got a question?
No, I'm just kind of hung up on the DNA test thing.
I do have some questions. So
okay,
you brought, and we'll get to one other thing here, but what you were talking about, can you go through, first of all, how would you...
go through doors? Elevators?
So how do you find out about these small presses that take submissions? There used to be the publishing handbook or whatever that came out every year and it had everybody's address.
Yeah.
What was that called? There's probably a couple.
I've got a couple.
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
That was something in the 90s.
I was told that
70s.
I was told that if I went to the Crossroads and brought a virgin,
and then he had to bring himself.
That's actually the name of the novella that I'm working on right now is called Crossroads. So.
Is it really?
That's apropos of nothing, but there you go. I like to talk about myself, so.
No.
We'll get to you in a minute. So, come back to you. How would they
You're
find
just
out
a
about
guest on the show. Why did you think this was going to be about you?
You shut up while that guy who never shuts the fuck up talks for another 45 minutes.
You know what? Women have not fought for a month in horror fiction for that kind of bullshit. I'll be talking, damn it.
I agree. Now I want to make really horrible sexist jokes because we're friends.
And this is why
And we're probably not that close, so I probably shouldn't. Will you please tell me, how would they get that?
Well, I can tell you...
do you need an agent?
No, you don't need an agent. I have an agent. Full disclosure, I do have an agent. I know mostly...
James Bond.
No.
That was lame. I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
I'm going to go back to swallowing Coke tabs.
That sounds like you're
He's
doing
never
really
getting through the airport.
You're like, I'm not content with LSD. I'm going to swallow entire tabs.
I'm worried about my nose, so I'll just swallow them.
It really only gets him back to normal.
with that level of exhaustion, you have nothing. I'll take one. I might be able to make it home. Again, I mean, I hate to be a broken record, but most of them that I hear about are through Twitter.
Okay.
Because, I follow a lot of the presses, and, I'll say, for anyone listening, because seriously, here's the thing. There's a lot of people who can write and who should write, and you know what? Fucking welcome to the table. There is room, and do not let anyone fucking tell you that there isn't. It's one of the things that it's a big peeve for me, is anyone acting like, oh, another writer. Yeah. There's a lot, and it's great because readers read and writers read as well. So if you want to do it, I strongly suggest it. I would get on Twitter and I would follow some of these presses. Some of the ones that I really love to follow, Gray Matter. Hi, Tony. We love you. Also,
do you know all these men?
I don't
They're all men.
Met them.
Why did you assume Tony was a man?
Tony is a man, but
but I mean,
there's been it's just like
well,
three.
it just happens to be
Are they all dudes? This whole horror women industry is controlled by men.
It isn't.
This
No,
is
it is not.
bullshit.
It's not. Well, it's not. But I will tell you one thing that I like is like
What?
there are a ton of men involved in this, but they're all like, fuck yeah, women in horror,
Right.
and that's what I love about it. But yeah, Silver Shamrock is another really good one.
Is it named after what I think it's named after?
I don't know. I don't know what
It's
you think
Halloween
it's named
3, Silver Shamrock.
after. I will have to tweet Silver Shamrock and ask.
Will you at me or add me to that, and then I will follow them, and then I'm more than happy to follow up.
Yes. Okay. Let's do that. Yeah,
Yes,
because
Halloween
that's
3,
a good question.
Season of the
I did
Witch,
not know.
Silver Shamrock.
Was not sure. Okay, we will check on that. Flame Tree Press is another really good one. Tor, Accession Press. I probably pronounced that wrong. And Grindhouse. There's probably like I'm gonna miss like a whole bunch of them, but I mean,
cool.
those are all good ones. And then it's one of those things when you're on it, you see more suggestions, of who to follow. You see people tweeting, and people will sort of retweet when you've got like an open submission and things like that. So that's kind of the best way that I would find to do it, to find the presses to follow. And I want to say, I think there are probably centralized things where people keep kind of more track of what the open call submissions are, but I am nowhere near that organized. So
the last time you were here, I know James has some questions, but I want to get through a couple. The last time you were here, in all seriousness, we talked about your writing as far as your process and your day-to-day and stuff like that, because I hear what you're saying about, yes, you're welcome at the table, go do it. What I want to tell people is that here's your dream, wake up, tickety-tack, clickety-clack every day, right? Or at least try to. And if you have a dream, whether that's to make movies, make music, make art,
right,
or storytell,
right.
Right?
It's all art, yeah.
Then just do it.
Yeah.
And don't make the assumption that that's how you're going to make your living.
Oh, well, yeah. That's hugely
That's
important.
the last thing I want to get. I get your point about all the table, but they're not all going to be Stephen King. They're not all going to be Dean Koontz. They're not all going to be who's the one? R.L. Stein.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that is a good point. That is
not to bring everyone down.
No,
But
I mean,
what?
10%
of authors make a full time?
I have no idea what the percentage would be.
It has to be less than 10%.
I would say less.
Yeah,
and most of the ones who are actually short story or poetry, some sort of published writing, who make that's their living, it'd have to be less than 10%.
Oh, I'm sure.
The rest of the writers who make their living are in entertainment industry. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things.
I don't know. I'm at somebody.
But yeah, it's not.
No. Along
It
those
used to
same
be,
lines,
I think, less than 10%.
Along those same lines, though, and you alluded to this earlier about the glacial pace of the process, and I just wanted to say that's something, and I posted a tweet about this a while back. I have came to realize that is absolutely true for academic writing, which I would think, I've done fresh research, we need to get this out quickly.
Yeah.
And it's like, you'll hear back. I got my first quote-unquote good news. It was like the assistant to the assistant editor said, we have went ahead and forwarded your submission on to the main editor. And I had to walk across the hallway going, am I being put off? And they're like, no, you already got main editor and they're telling you it may only be a year? Yeah. That's great. And I'm like, what the crap are we doing? and
Writing very slowly.
Well, and so I made the joke of, well, I'm going to crank out 4 more academic articles, and since I'll have a year to wait before I hear anything, that's when I'll go back to fiction.
Exactly. Yeah. And that would be my recommendation. Once you get something sent out the door, get the hell onto something else. It's a great distraction.
That's actually, and it's one of the things that I now have a research mentor, and his advice was 4 things in the hopper at all times, knowing that probably 1 out of 4 will get some attention. And I was like,
that's probably good.
I was like, that stresses me out on various levels. And he said, well, I'll be honest, nobody told me that till my 3rd year, and I almost didn't get tenure, so best of luck to you. He said, I'm telling you, year 1, good luck.
So, let's talk about it. You finished up your novel, came out last year. I know you were working on your follow-up novel. You were going to do 2, right? You're contracted to do 2?
Oh, no, I'm not under contract.
Oh,
No.
I'm so sorry. I misunderstood
you're good.
then.
No, I had, at that point, my second novel was with my agent for review to determine if it needed edits. Oh, dear God, it did. It needed a lot of edits. And I did those, and I thought that I was done, and then I heard back again and was disabused of that notion. But again, I cannot stress enough the importance of good editors and beta readers, because that shit was not ready to shop. I had she pointed out that I had 50 pages between action at one point, and I was just, I somehow did not see that. I have no idea how. If I'd been reading someone else's book, it would have driven me insane, but I just had all this dialogue.
I was about to say 50 pages of dialogue.
Yeah,
in a
50
book.
pages of dialogue, and it's
Is this a play?
even at one point it said nothing much happened, and then I went on to describe all that nothing much, and I was like, Jesus, Hightower. But that again, this is why you need editors. This is why you need beta readers. So that is just about finished with a couple of beta readers, and then hopefully should be good to go back to the agent.
We talk about why James needs beta blockers.
You make
as long as we're on the geriatric category.
Vibrant. Anyway,
you need to enunciate that too. You really do.
It doesn't matter. I'm married.
Let them think what they will.
I'm married and dead. Anyway, speaking of
zombie hamsters all up your ass.
Brackish water instead of blood.
Brackish water.
You and Richard Gere.
Richard Gere's never
Hold
had
on.
zombie hamster.
My heartbeat. Been a while. Anyway,
he does not accept zombie hamsters. His hamsters are alive.
Fresh.
Well, in the
Goddamn
beginning.
Buddhists have to have everything left. I don't know what that's.
And there we lost our Buddhist group.
That's okay.
That one joke didn't even make any sense.
Speaking of editing, though, and I love following authors. Some of them have posted things though that make me go, I am now scared even more of some of this process, because somebody tweeted not too long ago, and I'm blanking on who, but their edit cut 3/4 of their book, and I'm like, what happened?
I cut about 22,000 words this last time.
That's
more
lot.
than 6 and less than 40,000. How many pages is that? Roughly.
I think it was about 60 pages.
Yeah.
I think it was about 60 pages.
That makes sense.
But it's one of those things like, you've heard the term kill your darlings.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be really hard on the first pass. But yeah, kill the fuck out of them, because they're not all great.
Well, there was a story, and I just heard the story recently. There's a play called The Emperor and the Architect. And when they did it it premiered in London, and Anthony Hopkins played the Emperor way back in the day, and I forget who was the architect. When it came to America, it was the first role that Ron Perlman got cast in as an actor. And
you okay?
I bet he would be great on Broadway.
Well, here's the,
I thought you were going to say on Bonehead, because did you know he was going to be at Comic-Con, and I would have done that panel, but he canceled.
Oh, that's right. I saw that he canceled.
Cried for 3 hours.
That being said,
that does suck.
It really had nothing to do with Ron Perlman.
I would recommend
if you
like interesting memoirs, his Easy Street the Hard Way is fascinating, because he talks about the story. And the reason I'm bringing it up for
4 times in the last 3 shows.
The reason I'm bringing it up for the purpose of writing the play that was written performed was 4.5 hours, and in the middle was an 18-page monologue that he had to deliver.
Oh,
and they
bless
practiced
America.
this. They practiced it, and they knew it was going to fail.
well, yeah.
Because American audiences aren't going to sit there. And as he said, he goes, Anthony Hopkins is Anthony Hopkins. I was a new kid off the street. But he talks about the story, and he said they performed it, they did the preview show, and the playwright came. And then the playwright at the end of the show came up, and he said, okay, before you do it for an audience, when you do the preview, here's what you can cut. And Ron Perlman said, me and the other actor that I was working with, he says the actor's name, he said, looked at him and said, did you know you were going to cut this the entire time? And the playwright went, well, of course, but I wanted to do it, I wanted to see my child once before it was taken from me. And he said that he cut it down to like 2.5 hours. He cut 2 hours out of the play.
That would be necessary.
And I literally was sitting there thinking, Ron Perlman's a better person than I am, because I would have punched him. I would have just, because he memorized 4.5 hours of script.
Also, I mean, kind of God love him, but that is a bit pretentious. I wanted to see my child once
Before it was taken from me.
We're all pretentious. I have a question.
Go for it.
It's the hardest part of the process.
Of editing?
No, the process.
Oh, the entire process. Editing. And it's because it's such a long, when you're writing something fresh, and I've gotten to do a lot of that in the last year, which I'm thankful for, because I'd spent so much time editing.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a thriller. It's on its second draft. It's about 85,000 words. And I'm in the middle of a novella that's a little over 11,000 words right now. And getting to write the new stuff. Writing the outline and putting it all together and having it flow and having new characters and getting to know them. That's awesome. It's exciting. It's invigorating.
Well, because you're figuring it out as you go. You're experiencing it as well. It's virgin territory.
It is, but it's also...
I mean, you may have an outline, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's where you're going to go, and you have to figure out how X and Y and Z.
Right, but it's also what's fun for me with it, especially while at the same time I'm wrangling with this massive manuscript, of trying to cut where I could on it, because it's outrageously huge anyway. To watch this thing come together at 85,000 words, which is like a great sweet spot, and just like I'd outlined it diligently, I knew what the arc was, I knew where I wanted it to go.
So you outlined the whole thing before you wrote the book.
Yeah, but not. I mean, it's more I outline the story arc.
Okay.
And so there's room for it to go different places, but the way that it just spun out and came together, and I was happy with it. That part is so much fun. And editing, when you get in the swing of it, when you finally kind of crack through and realize, okay, this is what I need to do, and this is how I can cut when I need to cut, or how I can, solve these problems, like that can be invigorating, but it's only after you've done, it's like the last mile of the fucking marathon when I've never run a marathon, but I hear that people that people
I want
do
you
these
to
things.
look to your left and then look to your right.
And I'm also going to look down, because I don't.
No.
Marathons,
You're very svelte. I want you to look to your right and your left. Now tell us more about these marathons.
Marathons.
I saw this Marathon
I
Man
get
movie.
gas there.
Didn't end well.
That's
about
and
it.
hot dogs.
Hot dog.
I know Lord of the Rings.
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, you watched it all in one marathon?
Oh yeah.
Nicely done.
Was it
Nicely
the
done.
full cut, or did you?
No, it was the extended.
Theatrical. Okay.
When did you do that? I've always wanted to do it.
When I lived in Louisville and I was alone.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
I have
there's
never,
as a parent, there's no time
no,
in
I
which
could
you would have
never
an
make that
opportunity.
happen. I wasn't even able to make it happen before the kid got here. Okay, I have a few more questions.
Yes.
James, you can bounce in anytime you want. I know.
Just on his crotch.
Please don't.
Dude,
Is
listen.
that enough abuse
Listen.
from me over the years?
We've talked about the color
Did I
from
mention
outer
those
space.
teeth
I don't
earlier?
want to get pulled in.
So let's bring
wanna-
that back around.
Just so that we can come full circle.
We called her Toothy. So, do you do, and have you thought about doing some conventions? So I know a lot of people. You are not self-published. Kudos to you. A lot of the people I see at the con.
Well, let's not shame self-published people. That may be my only chance, Chad.
Well, and so yeah.
Well, a friend of ours is self-published, Mick Strong. We love him, and he wrote a really great book. And it's a non-fiction book about the making of Nightmare on Elm Street
I've got
4,
that.
which is very
I bought that one. I paid for the signed for the signed version of it.
Is there a different price? Did he charge you more to sign
Yes.
it?
Yeah. That's $5.
You get charged, but it's worth it. And my
I swear to God, I didn't know if he'd have done that to me, but I did get pissy because he wrote something very cool for those two a-holes, and mine was mixed on.
What was
I don't
yours?
think he wrote something on mine. I mean, he wrote something.
Which one of you did he draw a penis on?
Wasn't mine.
It wasn't drawn. It was photoshopped.
And on mine,
He's a friend of the show.
on mine, he said that he was. Oh, I wish I had the full thing because he wrote about half a page, and it was about how he was ecstatic, and it just kept building and building his pleasure of knowing that I was going to read his book, and then he sent me a device that will show certain bodily fluids, and told me to shine it on the page where he had wrote that.
Nice.
And
They got all these things. I got.
You seriously just got.
I swear to God, it's right over there. It's just mixed on to Joe.
So
I don't even know if it says to Joe.
I like to think because I retweeted him, I did all of that stuff.
We had him on the show. I introduced him to his wife. No, that's true.
No, that's true. I mean, we did have him on the show. That's
well,
true.
I met him first.
Well, yeah.
Mine said, does this mean I have to buy your book now? I thought that was good, and I was like, damn, I need to come up with pithier things to sign my books with.
He's a pithy motherfucker.
He is. No, well, and actually, as far as the self-publishing goes, too, that's another thing that some of the best fucking horror books I have read this year have been self-published.
Really?
And they are, I mean, you're not talking that there is not a damn thing wrong with them. They are tightly written. They are incredible stories. They're some of the most inventive shit.
I would say, do you think maybe partially, and I'm not saying this is true in all cases, but inventive occasionally gets them in trouble? And by that I mean, it's hard. Because that's one of the, back when I used to try to write a lot of more short fiction and short stories specifically, a lot of times I would get feedback from editors going, this is great, this is phenomenal, we don't publish this. And we can't tell you where to take it. And I always thought, they say that to everybody, and then somebody told me that. No. If it's a handwritten note, they're trying to tell you, we liked it. What the hell are we supposed to do with it?
And that's definitely a possibility. I think I'm sure I mentioned last time I was on here that horror, just in what I wrote, which I don't think was all that particularly outside the box, was a hard sell. Because there's just a large idea somewhere that horror is dead, but you see a horror movie released and half the planet goes to see it. So
so John Grisham and Stephen King talked about that in an interview where they're interviewing each other about how do people get published, and they both admitted to the other that neither one of them have been able to get other people published.
Yeah,
John Grisham said there was an
actual.
He gave a specific example of a friend of his or someone he knew, got him a book, it's like, read it, it's like, actually it's a pretty damn good book, took it to the publisher, it's like, nah, we pass.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I thought it was a good, and he's John Grisham, how many books has he sold? Probably knows a little bit about a story that might sell.
Yeah, well, and especially if you've got a blurb like that. If you could put on the blurb of the book, this is,
John Grisham found this author and blah, 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 they didn't publish it. So, have you thought about doing that? Have you thought about doing some conventions?
Read this one on the shitter.
And by the way, if you're listening to us, Chad's over there doing the famous clickety-clack with his fingers.
If I could actually do this and then eventually turn out a novel, I would.
But
and she said, "This is
good." I've met a lot of them from it, so I'm trying to get to the. We've yet to answer that question.
Yes.
I hang around some cons if you didn't know.
The big one that I'm planning on attending this year is Scares That Care in Virginia.
Okay, what's that?
That's a big horror convention.
Do they need a moderator?
I don't know. Seriously, I'll ask.
Yeah, please.
I will ask.
Yeah, I'd love to.
You are quite. You're quite well known. You've got.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you get all the big names, Joe.
No, I don't.
I actually.
We did have an Oscar winner on the show a few weeks ago.
Oh well, yeah. No, I watched. Yeah.
But that's a group thing.
Well, still, that's not an Oscar.
Group things can be fun. Are we still talking about the same stuff?
That was a soft setup for that, but it's so I'm definitely going to attend that one, and that is, I'm going as a person who will probably carry some of my books with me, like a puppy dog, in case.
So you're not doing a table, or are you actually doing a panel?
No.
You're just going.
Yeah, I'm just going.
You're attending.
Yeah, I'm attending, because at this point for me it's significantly more about just meeting the people that, I talk to on Twitter, and what I have consistently heard about Scares That Care is like, this is the laid back one where you will be able to have a drink with the horror author that you came to meet.
Is it mainly horror authors?
Yes.
I don't know what happened to my enunciation.
Horror is one that you have to really pay attention to.
It can. I have to pay attention to horrors all the time.
Well, they demand
I pays all my attention to the horrors.
They charge more than attention, but
yeah, well, it's cheaper in the long run. Let me tell you.
That's true.
Anyway, you were saying.
But yeah, I mean, this is one that I hear is really fun, and it's really.
Good. Where's it at in Virginia?
I want to say Williamsburg.
I think I'm familiar with it. And I think I've heard of it. And have you been to Williamsburg?
I have not. No.
Chad and I have a colonial Williamsburg story.
You do?
Yeah, I don't think we can tell it on the air.
No, you cannot.
Chad wants to keep working.
Who the fuck has a not safe for work colonial
Well,
Williamsburg?
Tell you after.
His name's Joe. His name's Chad, and I wasn't invited.
Chad wasn't married at the time. But honestly, this is one on Chad, and it did. If I hadn't been laughing so hard, I would have climbed under something when he scripted it out. but I was laughing, so I was just as guilty.
I'll interject a question here. So one of the things that we talked about,
or just ask a question.
That
there was kind of a
there was a segue.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Segway parking here.
One of the things that came up last time that became somewhat
controversial
was, Pinhead as a bureaucrat.
Yes.
Oh my God, I forgot all about that. That was hilarious.
I wanted to ask a question. So we now brought Pinhead into the office, so to speak. If it just a random question, if you could take a sitcom character and put them in a horror movie, who would
Ross
you put in?
Geller into, just put him the fuck with the, just kill him. Just have him just go to fucking get Pinhead back in there and just torture that motherfucker to death.
So
Actually, the entire cast of Friends, just
my wife.
Why did you that was visceral.
My wife.
So let's talk about.
Because Ross Geller's so.
No, you pause for a second. We'll get on your wife in a second.
Somebody should.
Well, I would if the 86 Bears would move out of the way. Anyway, moving right along. Why do you feel that strongly about Ross Geller, and then you pissed on Friends? Now, don't get me wrong. I agree with you.
Well, also here's the thing. Like I will admit to when I was in high school, like I watched Friends. Like I watched
Friends the first few seasons,
and like that's fine. But
school.
when you go back to watch it now, like the extent of their jokes are, Monica's fat. Okay, cool. Like you didn't even try to do anything with that.
She's not fat, is she?
But they keep making that joke. And if they have, it's just
on the show.
Yeah, on the show.
Yeah.
I remember that plot point.
But it was an eternal plot point. It was just like the eternal not funny joke. Yeah, no. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think it's because I recently tried to rewatch some of it, and they're just so
it's not funny.
Fucking irritating.
Yeah,
people love it. His wife loves it.
My wife,
not as much as
when
and I'm not.
No.
It's no Night Court.
You can shit on it.
Here's the thing.
But I haven't watched that in a really long time.
Here's my challenge with Friends.
It's hard to get Night Court.
My wife, she does love it, and she has her own thing, and I have mine. That's fine. That being said, my challenge with Friends is, who am I supposed to root for? Like the guy that makes the coffee. I understand
Gunther,
him.
yes.
Yeah, Gunther has a job. Gunther. He's trying to do his job, and he says sarcastic comments to people. And I'm like, Gunther and I are on a wavelength here.
Yeah, I'd be okay with like Joey.
Yeah, well,
probably.
But it doesn't seem like your type. But I don't know.
I mean, like I'd hang out with him.
Yeah, no, he would.
No.
My the reason I was thinking about the reason I wanted to ask you that question.
You wouldn't.
No, I would not date any of them.
The reason I wanted to ask you that question.
I date Gunther.
Gunther's got a job: car, career, crib.
Yeah.
Anyway,
3 C's.
3 C's. But the reason I wanted to ask that question is I was, once again, as I sit in my car, as I drive often, and I drive alone in my car for long distances, weird thoughts pop into my head. And one that popped into my head was, why is there not a horror film where Norm's just in the background from Cheers, just drinking?
Probably copyright.
I feel like there's probably a version of that.
Like,
I've got to think about what it would be.
because that's my entire thing. Is like, because I was like, nothing would change.
So you were thinking about something nice where it's like, it's this element of it, and I'm like, who can I torture to death with a fucking laugh
I
track?
agree.
That's
I
nice.
actually, both of these work really well because
They
I was just
do.
literally sitting there thinking that as long as you filled Norm's beer mug,
He'd be
Norm's
fine.
not going to do it. So you could have put Norm in the background in Saw, and he would not have interfered with that scene.
This is
long
not
it's
as
beer.
funny as Hellraiser bureaucracy. So, back to the Rue.
Back to the Rue. Okay, so I don't know where we left off.
We had an
with it,
issue with a card, sorry.
but- Okay.
The audio, we'll fix it. We'll fix it in post. Which means my ass will have to fix it.
So where should I start with it?
I don't know, just talk about the Rue. How did
Okay,
it come
well, yeah,
about?
it came about from what I recollect, just a jokey conversation between Keelan Patrick Burke and Alan Baxter and various other people about a murderous kangaroo. And Keelan is another one that you should absolutely follow. He is brilliant and utterly hilarious and a really excellent baker. It's, this is just, it's a cool concept, and Alan decided to write it. Alan is an excellent writer. It's just something we're all kind of excited about. And also, the Deadheads, the group that I do some contributions for, we're going to get to kind of help Alan roll it out. So
That's awesome.
I said I wanted to plug it tonight, and got permission and all that. So
when it comes out, we'll plug it on. Let us know, and we'll put it
Yeah,
on
I'll
Boneheads,
send the links
Twitter.
and,
You really want us to put it on Facebook? Do you remember mention no one's following us on Twitter?
but
Well,
you
I'll
guys,
put it
you
on
have
Twitter.
the
I have
actual
the-
Facebook following. I got,
Yeah, a few hundred.
122 people, and I never talked to them.
Yeah, we got that
because it
beat.
gets
Yeah,
crickets.
yeah,
So
yeah. But that being said, what do you have coming? I know you talked about these things, but do you know where anything is coming and what time it's coming out?
I do not. I don't have publishers picked up for anything, but my hope is Silent Key is the kind of horror noir that I've been working on for a while that I think is really close. So hopefully that gets picked up. The thriller that I've written with the working title of Slow Burn, which I fucking hate that title, but I'll come up with something else. That might be an easier sell. So I'd love to see both of those come out this year, and also this novella that I'm working on called Crossroads.
Okay, cool.
So these are my goals for 2020.
And what's your book?
My book is Whispers in the Dark.
And where can they find that book?
You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on the Journalstone website, and you can also find it on Barnes & Noble. At this point, you can probably find it on eBay because, people be selling them at this point, which is fine.
Do they really?
I guess. I always see that there's like used copies for sale, and that's cool.
Have you seen them at half price?
No, that'd be big time, wouldn't it? No.
I'm
not
just
seeing that
wondering.
price. Yeah.
I was just curious. Okay, so if they buy it, will you sign it?
I absolutely will sign it. And come to Scares That Care.
So Scares That Care is when?
That is the last weekend in July.
The last weekend in July in Williamsburg, you think?
I think
Are
it's
you taking the
Williamsburg.
family?
I would love to. I kind of think it's going to be a little bit of a long trip for Sebastian. So if I can, we will. And if not, I've got a couple girlfriends that might drive up with me. Or I might just be really awkward and go by myself.
No, you got to go with some friends. I mean, take some
I
good
have
friends.
I have friends there that I'll meet. Are you guys going to come?
No.
I was gonna say,
I like that. You're like, oh, bring friends. Just all of them. You going to go? No.
Well,
not
okay.
us.
I would go.
I may actually go. I didn't know it was in July, but I actually will be.
Go
off.
ahead, Chad.
Correct them. Do not get on eBay to look for Whispers in the Dark.
Oh well, that's also on. That's the major
Banks, Whispers
competitor
in the
on Amazon too.
Is that a dude with a shirt off?
That is a dude with a shirt off, holding a gun with a bulletproof vest and camouflage pants.
And if you,
Oh
you
my
know,
God,
you'll
I
probably
am
end up buying that instead of mine.
I
and
am
that's-
so moist
that's
now.
Okay. That's okay.
But
So anyway, I will do Whispers in the Dark if they want me to moderate.
you mean
You mean Scares That Care?
That too.
Yeah.
I'll do them both. I know. Sounds worse than it is.
Why don't we do Whispers in the Dark as a podcast, and we literally do, we still do it as a video. We black out the thing though, and we just whisper it.
Is it Jesus?
It's Yanni, but I know why that is. Laurel, Yanni. Laurel, Yanni. Yeah, that's why that came up.
Anyway, so they can find you on all those things. We highly recommend her book, even though I have not written my, what's it called again?
I review. I put one, I believe, on Amazon and one on Goodreads.
Much appreciated. I enjoyed reading your review.
I retweet everything that I get a
And
chance
now
to.
you've been on several podcasts since we had you on.
Yes.
You've gotten famous.
I I don't know about famous, but
You do them all the time now.
well, Rich and Shane of Ink Heist.
Is that a thing?
Yeah,
thing.
Are they way more popular now, aren't they?
Yes, they were.
Oh my God! Why is everyone more popular?
Probably because we do the show with the way we do.
But
By God, it'd be boring if I did it different.
I credit them with it because somehow I ended up, Shane accepted mine for review and then they had me on the podcast. And I think that tricked everyone into thinking that I was someone. So I appreciate that, guys.
No, that's how it works. That's how it works. That's how it works. You believe, no shit. You just keep doing it, and then people kind of just.
Oh, but I just said it, so that's cat's out of the bag. I'm not actually anyone.
No, nobody's going to watch our show.
You know we're
You're good.
Okay. Thank God.
What other ones? Have you just done Ink Heist? I thought you'd done several.
I have done Ink Heist twice, and
what? They got you back before we did. Those hosing sons of bitches. Don't know what that is.
It's Canadian,
one
whatever
word.
it is, it's Canadian.
Yeah, because that's me. This shit's ham, not bacon.
And then I'm lined up to do Staring into the Abyss, which is another horror podcast.
That sounds great.
I'm just going to stare into the abyss.
Attention, serious.
By the way, one of the greatest things that ever happened, I think it was through the Bonehead account. I tweeted something about staring into the void, and then an account called The Void responded me back, going staring back at you, and
Yes,
I'm like, oh, good, the
good.
Void responded.
The Void
I was
won
worried.
the internet that day. I thought that was pretty good.
I was happy.
That
We're extremely happy that your book is doing well. We're extremely
Thank
happy
you.
that you and your family are doing well. We'd love to have you back on the show. We're not just saying that.
Yes, we should do that before a year is up next time.
Well,
We'll
we
have to,
will.
but
I do
yeah.
have some special news. Do you guys mind if I make the announcement about March?
March, the graphic novel by Representative John Lewis.
No.
Who's Ellen?
Comic-Con. We will be doing another live show from Comic-Con. I was excited about it.
I'm excited.
You came?
We did, and my friend Jessica brought cookies.
That's right. I ate a bunch of cookies.
I didn't get a fucking cookie.
She makes the
get a
best
cookie? She had a whole fucking
cookies
bag
on
of
the
them.
planet.
I didn't get a fucking cookie.
Tell me those are not the best cookies you ever had.
They were not the
And I
best
sit there and
cookies
talk
I
to
ever
this
had, but
woman
they were
after
good.
the show, and she didn't offer me a cookie.
They had bags of them. I asked
I
if
didn't
there
have
was
anything in my hands.
I asked you if they had pot in them, right?
Yeah. She handed I think she handed the bag off to you.
Well, yeah, it's like this fatty needs them.
I don't think she just was giving you the cookies.
Well, and if
it
you
was
recall, I'm
volunteered.
24 hours past of being diagnosed with the flu.
Yes.
And Chad goes, "Are we doing this?" And I said, "If I'm fucking dead, I'm doing this show." And he goes, "Fine," and kill everybody else.
Yeah, which you managed to not do.
Which,
I
by
don't
the
think
way,
anybody
again,
got the flu from me.
Again, that should be that Joe will eventually be patient zero. We can write this script right now.
But no,
Joe,
everybody
patient
was
zero
around
to
me,
Comic-Con.
and no one got the flu. And I think I probably took
We got
at least
14
4
guys dressed as
ibuprofen
Snake
before I
Plissken.
got up there.
Yes, if you're going to be in Lexington during Comic-Con, you should go.
You should come to our show.
You should come to the live show.
You want to come again?
Fuck yes.
Awesome, great.
Awesome. Yeah.
We haven't figured out what we're going to do yet, so let's talk.
Okay.
Yeah, this could be fun. We had the Ghostbusters last time. The Western.
Oh,
they were
yeah,
great.
That was really nice. That was awesome.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. So we're excited. We want to thank the Greers, Jared and Jamie. Thank you so much for giving us another wonderful opportunity. Of course, I will be moderating those panels for them.
Yay!
Digging those ditches. But this is all about you. Thank you so much, Laurel, for coming back on.
Thank
we want
you
to have
guys
you
for
back
having
on
me
it. Go out, buy her book. Actually, you don't have to go out. You can just stay at home now.
Stay
You
at
don't really
home.
need to
Buy
do
my
anything.
book. Buy some books from some of these other fantastic authors
absolutely.
too. And follow me on Twitter, mostly so that you can then find the other cool people to
Now,
follow.
how can we find you on Twitter? What is your Twitter
I am
handle?
at Hightower Laurel.
Hightower Laurel. I'm Evil Joe.
Yeah, I follow you.
Yeah,
Follow each
I
other.
don't follow shit.
Do you not follow me on
I
Twitter?
follow you, but
Okay,
I
good.
don't. I'm not.
I'm not going to take it personally.
I'm not as bad as Chad, but I'm somewhere in between him and James.
I have.
There will be 2 days in a row where I'm and then
you just quit.
crickets.
I'm
I'm trying to do more Instagram, and it's the same thing.
I've been told by my husband to put my fucking phone down, so I think I might have a problem.
You are on Twitter. He's on
Yes,
Twitter a lot
I'm on
too.
Twitter all the fucking time.
I am alone all the time. Thank you for making this an intervention, Joe. So
It's not
Twitter
an
is
intervention. Here's a gun.
Yeah, but the fact you charged me.
Sorry, bitch. Twilight Zone.
Oh, he's not a real friend. He's gonna make you buy the bullets.
I know it's $5
I'm not
a
buying this
bullet.
fucking bullet. You know how much lead is?
I feel like
Eat
we're
lead,
still with-
motherfucker.
this is
Just,
another
I'm not
Cthullu
buying
country
it.
song. It's not an intervention. Here's a gun.
Holy shit, that sounded really good. Oh, And that sounded perfect.
Yeah.
That sounded perfect. I do have a quick request.
We have both types
Okay.
of music, country and
Before we, can you say thank you for listening or watching Bonehead Weekly in your wonderful Russian accent?
Oh, sure, okay.
Do you
Thank
understand
you
what-
for watching Bonehead this week. Please tune in next week.
Okay, now it sounds more like the lady from. Do you want to watch Glow?
No.
Okay, I love Glow. Now it sounds like she's doing an imitation of that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was trying to come up with like in Soviet Russia, Bonehead.
Bonehead
but-
does you.
Bonehead does you, but
Bonehead watches you.
could not come up with good enough jokes.
And
Sorry about
really
it.
quick, previous episode, watch it. Her ex-husband and his ex-wife.
Her ex-husband.
I'm actually,
I let the
still
cat out of the
married.
bag. I let the cat out of the bag.
When you
No,
They
get home,
my
never got
husband.
divorced. Booyah!
when you get home, you may notice the
In
keys
so
don't
many
work. I
Russia,
don't
there
know.
are no divorces. There's just you eat a potato.
My husband's ex-wife, my stepson's mother. Hi, Elena.
Are we good?
Thank you again for doing the show.
Thank you so much.
Seriously,
You're very welcome. Thank you
go
for having me
buy
back on.
her book.
All right. Hold on. This is funny. Rue. You'll rue the day. Yeah, he didn't write that in.
Ah.